According to a recent study published by the Cleveland Clinic, it found that nearly 60% of men only go to the doctor once a year or when they feel seriously ill. The survey also found that only 3 out of 5 men get annual physicals, and 500 men surveyed said that health isn't something they regularly talk about. Philip Robinson is on a mission to change that. He's the founder of Saving Brothers. The goal of Saving Brothers is to create a global community and resource to serve men where they are, with a focus on empowering men to gain control over their health, self, and wealth, creating connection and better communication, not only for men, but for the women who support them. Robinson joined me this week to discuss Saving Brothers in greater detail and the personal link of tragedy, which sparked his interest in creating the project in the first place. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. So, Phil, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to learn all about Saving Brothers today. Great to see you, and thank you so very much for being here.
It's an absolute pleasure, Kevin. Honor to be here with you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Saving Brothers is founded on 3 primary principles. So I'm wondering if you can tell me all about it.
Sure. Yeah, well, Saving Brothers has 3 key pillars, and they are health, self, and wealth. I had my own personal journey at 47. I'm 54, but at 47, I went through a cancer journey, a diagnosis of prostate cancer, and that was a fairly challenging time. I went through also a divorce after being married, Kevin, for some 22 and a half years. And as a result of that, I left my marriage, and I went to a nice, what we call a grammar school here in Melbourne, Australia. And unfortunately, since I left school, 4 of my friends had chosen to take their lives. And I guess I was really at a crossroads myself. I was a mortgage broker for 19 years, but I was really feeling quite empty in my heart, even though I was making a good living, Kevin, but I was feeling somewhat lost. Really was this all it was about? Just making money. And feeling really vulnerable at that time in my life, I went to a course. I was actually studying affiliate marketing, and I went and did a 3-day course, Kevin, around pinpointing your purpose. And it started to really come to me that it wasn't just about making money. I really wanted to create a legacy, and I wanted my life to, in my view, to mean something. So on my deathbed, effectively, I wanted to be at peace and to be able to look back and say, what have I done? And also, really, I wanted my sons. I've got 2 boys, Kevin, who are 21 and 19. I wanted my boys to be proud of me. And I thought, how can I make something of significance and build a legacy? And the idea came to me about, because I was studying affiliate marketing, as I said at the time, I thought, imagine if I could create an opportunity, a business platform as well, that could really help men elevate themselves and be the best version of themselves in their areas of health, self, and wealth. So it was really through my own pain and adversity that the concept of building a global platform for men's health came to me, Kevin.
Absolutely. And Phil, I'm also fascinated to ask you, why do you think men should value their health in general?
Gosh, you keep coming up with great questions, Kevin. I think that one of the great things about the dynamic of us as men is really that we take our health for granted. It's almost like we just We just go along. We're very, very busy men. Traditionally, men are the hunter, if you go back to primitive society. And I think the important thing is we need to remember that health is a gift and that it can easily be taken away from us at an instant. And if you look in your country, in the US, and certainly in my country, cardiac disease or heart attack is one of the biggest killers of men. So I think it's really important that we start to understand that health must be valued, protected, and actually nurtured. And one of the biggest things with us at Saging Brothers is about helping men to be preventative with their healthcare rather than responding and being reactive. So again, really important question that you've asked about why it's important men need to value their health, Kevin.
And you talk about nurturing health as well, Phil, and I know that one of the primary things that Saving Brothers is passionate about is equipping men with health mentors to help them be more accountable with their health. So tell me about why it's important to equip men with health mentors and how it helps them to be more accountable about their own personal health.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Having someone that you can go to or speak to. If you look at sports, for example, you look at, say, the great Michael Jordan or anybody that's really top of their game in sports, he had a coach. He had Coach Phil. We all need a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. So it's important to be able to have a degree of accountability. And I think the thing with us men is we're so busy being busy. We're spinning plates. We're juggling so many things in our lives, whether it's a profession, whether it's a family, finances in many cases. And so sometimes it's just very easy for us to get off track and day to day get caught up in the minutiae of life, Kevin. So for us, the idea of having coaches, mentors is important because it keeps us, it's a kind of like it keeps us or gets us back on track to remind us, oh yeah, I committed to doing that. Now I actually need to follow through. So the idea of some accountability, if you think about it like KPIs, key performance indicators in business, same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Phil, I'm going to share just a little bit about myself. I was born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. Simply means that I don't have enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally. And, one of the mottos that I live my life by is always active. And I think part of taking ownership of your own health is having your own investment in your health. So my question to you is, how do you think men can take pride in living a healthier lifestyle and really owning their own sense of accountability when it comes to their health? How do we take ownership of our own health journey?
Yeah, well, that's another great question. You keep loading them up, Kevin. Within Saving Brothers, we've got a program, it's called Keep 5 Alive, which we'll be able to touch on. But I think we actually have to realise that we matter. And the tagline at Saving Brothers, Kevin, is you matter. So number one at Keep 5 Alive in our program is actually self-care. We need to make it a priority. You talked about how you always take action and with your own health. And I think ultimately it's got to be a decision. I mean, it's like anything, the saying is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So we can put tools out there and resources, which we love to do. We have a lot of professionals also writing articles, but at the end of the day, men need to make a decision that says, number one for us, as I said, at Keep 5 Alive is self-care. Make a decision and make it a priority.
Yeah, let's dive into 5 Alive and tell me what it's all about. I'm curious.
Yeah, well, it was actually funny enough. I love to go walking. I used to be a runner in my 30s. I ran marathons. And since then, I walk in nature every day. And after I finish our podcast, I'm going to take my dog out for a walk. But the idea came to me actually, Kevin, on a walk one morning, and the idea of Keep 5 Alive, which we've patented here in Australia, was that we wanted men to do 5 things to take care of themselves. And number one was self-care. So ask yourself this question each day. How do I feel about me today on a scale of 1 to 10? So let's actually measure it. rather than say, oh, I feel crap or I feel great or I'm all right. So let's actually ask ourselves that question. We deserve to ask ourselves that question. Number two, which I just hinted at, is exercise, Kevin. And that is that it's really important movement. So 5 times a week, just 30 minutes, 5 times a week has been proven to replace one antidepressant tablet per day. Now, a really big one is number 3. For men, we are very reactive. We tend to go to doctors as a reaction, or I always say when our leg's about to fall off. We're quite the opposite of women, Kevin. Women go for pap smears and mammograms and they're very regimented. But we as guys, we just tend to do things, as a buddy of mine from Memphis, Tennessee said, we'll just get a bit of dirt and rub it on that wound and we'll just get on with it. So we want to get men to make sure every year they are booking in to get their bloods done so that they can create a baseline or a score, whether it's cholesterol, whether it's PSA for prostate awareness, checking for bowel cancer. We want to ensure men do that every year. Number 4 is we want to be grateful, gratitude. We want to be grateful for what we do have in our lives, Kevin. We want to actually reflect. We spend so much time on, I haven't got this, or they've got something better than me. But, you'll always be disappointed if you're always thinking, I haven't got stuff. So we want men to be reflective and to be grateful. And number 5, men, I think, across the globe, and I do speak to many men probably like you do, Kevin, across the world. But I've found that we are not that great at opening up in being vulnerable and sharing our feelings, particularly with other men. So if I ask a guy, hey, how you going? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm not bad. I'm good. Okay, but that doesn't unpack or uncover really how he could be feeling. What if he's dealing with something quite difficult? So we teach brothers, Kevin, around the world to ask this question. Hey, brother, how's your day going out of 10? Now, the power of such a simple question, hey, brother, how's your day going out of 10? If 10's a great day or 1's an ordinary day, when you actually direct that question to a man, you're stopping him to think rather than giving, Kevin, an automated reply. And the beauty is, yes, I can get men saying I'm a 9, I'm a 10, I'm an 8, which is great. But I get plenty of brothers across the world saying to me, I'm a 1, I'm a 3. Now, that's okay, because what we've all of a sudden done, we don't have to solve his problem. We're giving him a safe space to share and effectively, Kevin, put the load down. So if I get that response, I'd say, well, hey, brother, what made you give that score? What's going on for you? It's opening up the pathway for a discussion. As I said, I don't have to solve his problem. I've got 2 ears, use them in proportion. Just listen. We as men think we've got to fix everything. But it's really the pathway to opening up a fair, nice discussion around just being able to give that man that knowing that we actually care. So that's why for us, Keep 5 Alive, they're the 5 things. And we then are going to encourage, or what we already do is encourage brothers to share that with another 5 and share it with another 5. And we've got a global mission actually, Kevin, which I haven't told you about, which is by helping 5 men to help 5 men to help 5 men. When you take that down 11 layers, which is our legacy goal, you'll actually impact 245 million men's lives across the world.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that, Phil. And, I want to go back to the 4th thing you shared with me, and setting your own sort of bar of excellence. Phil, I always say that the only standard that you would have to meet are your own, because once you meet your own standard of expectation, everything else in life multiplies. So I'm also wondering, just if we could dive deeper into the notion of setting your own level of expectations and finding your own level of fulfillment in the expectations that you set for yourself.
Sure. Well, I've got expectations and goals, and I've got coaches myself, Kevin, in different areas of my life. So I've got a sleep coach. I actually have obstructive sleep apnea, so I use a CPAP machine, which is one of the areas Saving Brothers will be working in the area of med tech equipment and supporting brothers. We don't really understand the power and importance of sleep. So I've got a coach in the area of sleep. I've got a dietitian who's actually the Royal Australian Navy's dietitian. She's a lady that's on the team at Saving Brothers. So I've got an accountability coach in the area of gym work. I've got a coach in the area of looking after my muscles. I've had a lot of muscle injuries, particularly around my soleus and calf muscles from years of running. I've got a business coach in the area of my property business because I run a property company as well. So I've got different people that I go to, Kevin, and we talked about accountability earlier when you said, why is it important and how is it important around health? So I personally, I'm a great believer that you've got to practice what you preach. There's no point me being out here as the leader of this global platform if I'm not doing the same things myself and actually setting an example. So I've got coaches in different areas of this business helping me around the world. I've got coaches in areas of my other business and to ensure that I can perform at the optimum level I need to be at to be able to fulfill my long-term goals.
Yeah, and Phil, to that point, I'm wondering how you define passion and purpose and how they're interconnected in your view.
Passion and purpose are absolutely interwoven. I think for me, you've got to find something that really gets you in the heart. I mean, ultimately, when I started this, I was doing a course through a group and affiliate marketing. I was going to different places. I went to the Digital Marketers Conference in San Diego. I flew to London for another conference. Then I went to another conference several months later in Cape Town. And I was passionate about men's health, but I needed to create a purpose, and my purpose was to create a legacy and to actually make an impact. So I think the two are so interrelated. When I started this journey, as this lady, a friend of mine from Canada, she said, Phil, just follow your heart. So that was my passion, and my purpose was to help men be better versions of themselves in the three pillars of health, self, and wealth. So I absolutely think you're spot on, Kevin. They are very, very much interwoven.
Yeah, and Phil, I was born in Canada, so I always celebrate Canadians, and I'm glad that they've had a positive impact on your life for sure. But I also know that you're developing or developed a wellness app that you're interested to tell me about. So tell me all about the app and how it works, buddy.
Brother, it's a lot of time, a lot of money. In fact, my development team's based in Colorado. So we've got some guys who are currently at the moment working on the graphics. And our goal is to have the app made free for brothers across the globe. And the idea of the app really is that we've built a virtual assistant. Again, we talked about accountability before, Kevin, and the app will be this virtual assistant to help men actually monitor their health in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And a lot of the time as brothers, we just don't know what the expectation is. What should we be doing? So what we're actually going to be doing is delivering to men an experience where they can create their own journey within our app and get the tools that are relevant to them. So a guy might be in his 20s, bowel cancer, prostate cancer awareness really is not that important. So his journey may well look somewhat different. Me as a man in my 50s, I've got to be getting checks around prostate cancer, even though I've had it, but I still do get checks. Bowel cancer, moles, skin cancers, all these sort of things. These are the things that we want men to be educated on. So the app will give men education, tools, and actually markers or trackers. So perfect example, Kevin, if you go to a doctor and the doctor says, well, Kevin, I really want you to keep an eye on your cholesterol, or maybe I'm thinking you're a little bit pre-diabetic. We need to work on your insulin and your glucose levels. So I want you to go to the drugstore and I want you to be able to get a glucose measure and you prick your finger every day. So within the app, you'll be able to record the data, the results. You might say, hey, I need to lose 20 pounds. A guy might be overweight and it's putting his heart under stress. So he'll be able to measure that, or sleep. He has a sleep diary. All these things will be available within the app. So let's say he goes back to the doctor in 3 months and the doctor asks him the question, so how have you been going since we last spoke? You go, well, actually, I've got a printout here. I've been monitoring my sleep, or I've been tracking my glucose, or this is how many steps I've done each day. So they'll be able to go in effect on a journey of self-discovery, on And accountability will actually create a QR code where they can share it with their partner. So their partner effectively can see, oh, you've got a reminder here. You need to go and make an appointment with the doctor about this. Okay, great. Or they can share it globally with their brothers. Again, the app will be always for free. They don't have to pay for it, Kevin.
Well, I say that a sense of pride and ownership of your own health goes a long way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I use the example often of a car. You could have the best looking Corvette or whatever that awesome car is, and you're driving along. But if you don't look under the hood, which is the engine or our body internally, the organs, and if you're not checking it and getting it serviced, eventually it may cause problems. I had a sports car when I was 19. I effectively blew up the engine because there was an oil leak, and ended up a tow truck picked it up, and I had to get the engine replaced purely because I was ignorant and not thinking, oh, you need to service these things more regularly. So again, the oil leak manifested into the engine seizing. So ultimately, we need to take care of our engine inside our bodies, and our app is a way to be able to be really engaged in preventative medicine rather than reacting.
Robinson says that men must be equipped with the knowledge and power and education they need to take control and ownership over their health.
Because I think, again, there's a real ignorance. One of the things we learned, Kevin, was that there really wasn't an app, and I've had my research team, my medtech team do research, that there really wasn't an app out there that gave recommendations on the things that men need to be doing to take control or be responsible. In fact, we call it reclaiming the sovereignty over their health. So we were quite surprised, maybe even a little alarmed, Kevin, that there wasn't an app out there already doing these things. So for us, we think this is so important to be, I mean, you can imagine we've all lost somebody in our lives for something that could have been prevented. And again, in Australia, we just lost a great man. His name is Shane Warne. Now, in the world, he had 100,000 people come to his funeral just the other week. It was watched by over something like 3 billion people in cricket. Now, cricket is not a native sport to the USA. They do play it a little bit in Canada. But this man died at 52, like about 5 weeks ago. Really could have been prevented, perhaps if he'd been getting regular checks. So I just think it's so important. Education. One of the things we want men to do is we actually want to make the app fun, and we're going to gamify the app. So we want men to find that this is not overwhelming and daunting, this whole idea of looking after your health. It's actually for your own best self-interest, which is to prolong your life and to have a healthier, happy life. So health education for us is something we want to make fun for brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. And here comes the legacy question. Phil, if you look at your life from a macro 30,000-foot view, how do you think you want your legacy to be defined, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, look, I want my life to be defined as Phil Robison made a difference in the lives of many, many people with Saving Brothers. And in fact, just on the back of that, it's actually in the lives of children as well, because part 2, which I haven't shared with you, Kevin, is called Saving Little Brothers, where we're going to build a platform to help boys get good role models and mentors to become good teenagers so they grow up into becoming great young men and leaders around the world. So my legacy really that I've decided to build, which we've got a very detailed business plan beyond my lifestyle, is I want to be able to say this guy made a difference. He loved and cared for many people, and he helped men around the world realize that they mattered. Their life was important and special.
Absolutely. Well, Phil, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed our conversation about men's health, and I want to thank you for the work that you've done in the space and for engaging in conversation with me today on this critically important issue. And I want to thank you for being here today. It's most appreciated.
Thanks, Kevin. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a blast. Don't forget, keep 5 alive and always ask the question, hey, brother, how's your day going out of 10? Kevin, you're an absolute legend, and I've really enjoyed spending time with you today on your show.